Hey folks, hope I find you well. So today's video is all about how to change your behavior. And in order to begin to discuss this, I want to convey to you two key concepts in behavior. The first concept is called reinforcement. Reinforcement is the process through which we increase a behavior. So, reinforcement can be divided into two separate types: positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Now, when I'm talking about positive and negative, I don't mean this in the context of good versus bad. What this means in behavioral psychology is positive means adding a stimulus and negative means taking away a stimulus. So with reinforcement, positive reinforcement would be what we would do when we praise a child. Child does good behavior, we praise them, they think, oh, every time I do that behavior, I get praised, so I'm going to keep on doing more and more of it. Negative reinforcement, on the other hand, is the removal of a stimulus following desired behavior. So, this classic example comes up with our alarm clocks. Our alarm clocks beep and beep and beep and beep and beep until we reach across and switch them off. So that reinforces the behavior of waking up, switching them off, and getting out of bed. We think to ourselves, oh, if I keep on lying here, that thing is going to go on and on and on and on, so I'll get up and switch it off. And that reinforces our desired behavior to get out of bed. Now, second concept is punishment. Punishment is the process through which we decrease a behavior. So, going back to the analogy of parenting, spanking a child would be positive punishment. Now, again, positive doesn't mean good, it means adding a stimulus. So a child misbehaves, you spank the child, and the child thinks, oh, every time I do that behavior, I get spanked, and I don't like being spanked, so I'm not going to do that anymore. Negative punishment is then the removal of a stimuli. So what this would be is if that child is misbehaving, instead of spanking them, you take away their toys. So that child thinks, oh, every time I do that behavior, my mum or dad keeps on taking away my toys. I don't like that, so I'm going to stop doing that behavior. So, the question I'm sure you all want answered is, what is better, reinforcement or punishment, positive or negative? Now, in a objective sort of sense, naturally we would be inclined to think positive reinforcement is the best. Positive reinforcement makes us feel good. When we get praised for something, we feel great, we feel accomplishment, and we feel motivation to keep on going with that task. So this might be, for example, if you wanted to start exercising. If you hired a personal trainer who every time you completed a session said, oh, John or Jane, you did really well today, you were working hard, you were following my instructions, I'm really proud of your progress. That would make you feel awesome, wouldn't it? It would make you feel good, it would make you want to go back again and again and keep on pleasing the personal trainer. And ultimately, you would start to feel accomplishment within yourself, because every time you complete the exercise session, you feel good. Now, the problem with positive reinforcement is it only occurs if you actually do the behavior that you want to do. So, if you get out of bed in the morning, feel lazy, and you don't go to the gym, you're never going to get your desire to exercise reinforced. That positive reinforcement only occurs after you've actually done the exercise, after you've done your desired behavior. So if you are really struggling to implement a new behavior in your life, then positive reinforcement might not be for you, because it's only going to occur if you can get that motivation to initiate that behavior, to already start it. So, what about negative reinforcement? this might be slightly more effective for you because it creates an irritation in your life until you can complete your desired behavior. So again, using the example of exercise, let's imagine that you're wary that you might not go to the gym and meet with your personal trainer. So what you do is when you wake up, you put on some really uncomfortable clothing. Something that's hot, sweaty, makes you itch, is going to make you uncomfortable for as long as you continue to wear it and sit at home doing nothing. And then you make a promise to yourself that when you get to the gym, you can remove that uncomfortable clothing. So that creates a relief, and that relief positively reinforces the behavior of going to the gym. You say to yourself, oh, every time I go to the gym, I'm able to take off this ridiculous woolly jumper that my gran knitted me 5 years ago and I've never liked it, but I've kept it, just to please her. That might be slightly more effective for you. So that's reinforcement. Now, you might be able to put up with wearing that awful jumper, or even you might not be bothered to put it on in the first place, and you might not stick to that ritual of trying to give yourself that extra bit of negative motivation to go and do the exercise. So you might need to resort to punishment techniques. Now, punishment techniques, I have a wary approach towards, because when done too much, I feel that they create fear and anxiety, hatred, and they can actually demotivate you to do a behavior because you just keep on getting this negative feedback all the time, and that is very discouraging. However, if you think that your temperament might be suited to it, if you use an appropriate source of punishment and you use it in moderation, it can be very effective. So let's use a different behavioral example. Let's say that you want to quit smoking. So, positive punishment would be adding a stimulus. So, you could have an accountability partner who is going to watch out and keep an eye on how much you're smoking. If you aren't sticking to an allotted total cigarettes per day, if you're trying to cut down, say you're on 20 a day and you're trying to go down to 10 a day, if your accountability partner notices that you're going above that 10 cigarette a day quota, then they can chastise you, they can berate you, they can put you down and tell you like what a big mistake you're making, and they can trigger that guilt complex in you. That would be positive punishment. Alternatively, you could have negative punishment. So, same scenario, accountability partner, quota of 10 cigarettes a day. But this time, if you aren't meeting your quota, then your accountability partner hides your cigarette packets. So, if you smoke too many cigarettes, your ability to smoke cigarettes at all is just going to be taken away from you. So that would be how you would use a punishment process to try and decrease a behavior. So what is the best answer? I believe, like many things in life, it's actually a combination of the two. So naturally, I think you should have that positive reinforcement in there. That is the strongest motivator of all. That is what is going to help you grow and develop as an individual. That's what's going to inspire you and motivate you and bring that feeling of meaning and purpose into your life. However, you are also going to need something at the other end of the scale that is going to discourage you from not sticking to your promises and your routine. So this is where you'd bring in a punishment element. So you've got the positive reinforcement, so that's maybe the exercise, the personal trainer who praises you and motivates you, and then you've maybe got a punishment on the other side. So that might be you have an accountability partner who hides the TV remote if you're not exercising 3 or 4 days a week or however many times you want to. So you've got this balance, you've got this kind of negative process sort of on the horizon, and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be swaying too much towards that. Let's instead go towards the positive. If you're given two choices, one's good and one's bad, you're going to go more towards the good and you're going to try to avoid the bad. So, that is a brief breakdown of how to change your behaviour and the psychological processes that you can utilise to help facilitate that change in behaviour. I hope you found today's lesson useful. I look forward to sharing more with you in the future. But until then, love inwardly and shine outwardly.